welcome to Watching for a Friend, where I watch movies and shows because I love them and let you know whether it's worth watching or not. If you are new here, thank you so much for choosing me, and I'm really excited that you're here. I hope you stay till the end of this video. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for returning, and I really appreciate the support, and I hope you also stay till the end of this video. Today is going to be my second installment in my Insecure episode reviews. So we're going to talk about episode 2 of season 4, which was called Low-Key Distant. Okay, so my initial reaction to this episode is that it is setting us up for a lot of drama. And obviously last week had a really good vibe to it as far as the strides Issa was making in her life. Got us established to where everyone else is, but this week you can tell things are going to start going a little bit haywire in the season. So let me start getting into where the things that worked really well in this episode, the things that I really liked, and then also where I think we might be headed this season. Obviously, in the beginning of the episode, we see Molly and Andrew out on a date. And Molly is obviously, I think I said this last week, Molly was going to run back to Andrew. That was not going to, I knew that wasn't going to stick, just because Molly is thirsty. Molly is so thirsty for a man, and I get it. I know there are a lot of women out there that are desperate to find a partner. She's been single the entire time we've known her. We find that she is a little bit particular about the men that she chooses, and she tends to be nitpicky about the guys that she chooses. And then Andrew seemed to have it all together, but this episode we do start to see that he does have some issues that he also needs to deal with. In particular, Molly is finding that he doesn't open up to her very often, and we see that at the restaurant when they're waiting for their car. Andrew takes a phone call. He's visibly upset after this phone call. Molly asks him what's going on, and he refuses to tell her. He just wants to change the subject. So in a later scene, we do see Molly talking to the girls about Andrew and how she really likes him, and he has a lot of the qualities that she wants in a partner, but again, he is not willing to commit just yet, and again having issues opening up to her. And she mentions this to the girls. They are a little wary of her take on things, just because she does tend to dramatize how bad things are in a relationship, but they also want to make sure that she is setting the right expectations for herself. In particular, Issa mentions that her expectations might be a little bit off, and it raises some eyebrows for Molly. So again, Issa and Molly's relationship is starting to become an issue. We see that they can't really be honest with each other. Molly can't be honest with Issa without her getting offended, and vice versa. And that was demonstrated here in this particular episode. Now, in that same scene with all four of the girls, Issa, Molly, Tiffany, and Kelly, I thought that scene was so entertaining, and I loved how they put that in there. All the girls were in their really cute costumes. Obviously, Kelly stole the entire scene when she was dressed as one of the girls from BAPS. And I was like, oh my goodness, they just really know how to nail her character so well. As far as the comical side, it seems like a costume that she would absolutely wear. And then in this scene, the funniest, I laughed out loud. I laughed out loud when Kelly, they were like helping Tiffany out of the chair because she got all excited because the kids were coming to her house, and they're helping her out of the chair, and Kelly's like, she needs to learn. She needs to learn. Y'all didn't help me up. I was dying laughing. I was like, why are you going to discourage them from helping a pregnant lady out of a chair. So I was just like, she's so funny, and completely stole that scene for me. I loved her in there. I just wish she was in more of the series, and I wish that they would give her more of a backstory that we knew about her. Also, Chad is back. And Chad is basically the Kelly for Lawrence. And I wish Chad and Kelly, I hope they have a scene together this season. I really need to see Chad and Kelly's energy playing off of each other at least one time. So anybody who has any pull in the Insecure writers room, please let us get a Kelly and Chad scene. I just need to see how they interact with each other, see what their energy is like on screen together. It would just be amazing because they have he brought the same amount of honesty and wit to the scene that he had with Lawrence that Kelly did. So talking about that scene, so the cool thing that I liked about that scene, they used Chad in such a smart way with Lawrence. And then I also love, oh gosh, Derek, Tiffany's husband, Derek. He has such a sobering presence in Lawrence's life. And it's interesting because he and Lauren are a lot alike. They both, crave this settled family life, but Derek is a much more real, honest version of Lawrence. Lawrence tends to have his head in the clouds, and he tends to be very, he doesn't like to put in as much work, like Derek, you can see he puts in a lot of work with Tiffany. He goes above and beyond for her in a lot of ways. Whereas Lawrence, and Chad called him out in this scene, saying, don't pee in the pool or something like that. I forgot what the verbiage that he used, but Chad called him out and was basically like, you always look in the places that are easy, basically. Like you went to that baby shower, you shouldn't have found one of Tiffany's mutual friends. You should have gone with like somebody who was working there that had no connections to anybody. And so I love that they used Chad to call that out for Lawrence, because when we think about his character, he does tend to take the easy route. And when you think about the reason he and Issa broke up is because he did lack some ambition when it got to his job. He lacked ambition when it came to his app, which still hasn't come to fruition. His relationship in season 2 with Aparna, and his relationship with Tasha from season 2. Like, she was a girl that worked at his bank. Aparna was a girl that worked at his job. So he really doesn't like to go outside of his comfort zone. He really, and we see that when he did try and go out dating, he didn't fit in. His comfort zone is in places like work. His comfort zone is within his friend group, which is actually Issa's friend group. So he just really likes things to kind of be handed to him on a platter. And so I thought that was really important. It's important for his character. Obviously, this is how there are people like this in real life. So it's important for his character, but I also think it's really important that he has a friend and that they use Chad to really put that mirror up to him. So Chad is to Lawrence what Kelly is to Issa. So I wish Kelly was more in more scenes. Like, every time you see Lawrence, you tend to see Chad in some way. I wish Kelly was more synonymous with Issa, more so than Molly, especially now. Molly is becoming a really difficult person to really connect with these days. So I really love, but anyway, back to Chad. I really love what he did there. Love that he put that mirror up to Lawrence, and it checks out with Lawrence's path. So the next thing I want to talk about is Issa and Condola's friendship. Again, I really, really like their friendship. And with Condola, I did see some improvements in her acting this time around. She had a little bit more life behind her eyes. She was a lot less robotic, a little bit more natural on screen. I really still like Issa and Lawrence's relationship together. They are very drama-free as well, so I really don't think they need to infuse any additional drama in there. But I feel like they're trying to force drama into this relationship, which would suck, but I guess some people want to see, some drama brewing beneath the surface to make this show interesting, but hopefully it'll just be, the drama between Molly and Issa will be enough. I think it'll be stressful enough for us if they start really fighting. So yeah, that was all I have to say about them two. They all have a really good vibe, so I just want them to continue to have a really good vibe. And Molly does finally address the issues that she has with Andrew directly about him not opening up. And then he does, he has the self-awareness to say, you know what, I am not opening up. I don't feel comfortable with this. It's not anything personal. And so the lines of the communication is opening, which shows that he is mature. I hope that this reassures Molly. I hope that Andrew is able to start being forthcoming so that Molly starts to trust him a little bit more and becomes more secure in that relationship and can be more herself, like the Molly that Issa was describing in episode 1. I think would be wonderful to see her come back as a more confident, boss who has her stuff together. I actually want to talk about Molly at dinner with Condola and Issa. Molly had the stankest attitude with Condola, and she couldn't even hide it, which, I think they had met. I don't know. They said that, I think it was the first time that they had really had to chat. And Molly was being so weird and had such a bad attitude. And I get it. Sometimes you're like, oh no, this is my best friend. How are you going to you can't come into the fold without my approval. But even for her to not be able to get it together, she saw that Issa was really happy. She saw that Condola was really nice. I don't know why she couldn't just fake it through this dinner. Obviously, she had a lot on her mind that she wanted to let Issa in on, and Issa wasn't picking up on that cue. So again, their vibe is off. They're not really communicating, intuitively like they normally would. Usually, you would pick up on those vibes from your friends, but they couldn't even do that. So it really shows that they're out of sync right now. They're not at the same place in life. And they really, really need to have a conversation to get it all out or go their separate ways until they are at a better place or in the same place in life. So I was really disappointed in Molly at this dinner, and she really is proving to be a hater, and I'm not sure where it's coming from or where it's going. But we will see. I don't know why. I think they're just in different places in life right now, and that's fine. But they need to have a real conversation about it. And then that leads into Issa and Molly's chat at their self-care Sunday, where Issa is really upbeat. Molly is a lot more pensive and has a lot more going on, especially with things at work. But she finally did. She was very transparent with Torian at work and let him know that she was disappointed in how she took over that case last year, and that made him look bad, which, kind of severed ties with him and then a lot of other people at the firm. So we see she's trying to mend things at work. So again, this is a step in the right direction, communication wise, that transparency, that remorse that she has. And she's kind of seeing where she's developing the self-awareness where she's starting to see where she screws things up. But again, that's because Issa is willing to tell her the truth. But it's very difficult for her to hear these things from Issa, especially since Issa also doesn't have her life together as much. So it'll be interesting to see if them holding each other accountable and them being real with each other will ultimately make them realize that they are not really good for each other at this point in their lives. I'm very confused after this episode as to where it's going. This did to me feel a little bit like a filler episode or an episode to set things up. So it wasn't my favorite episode. So I guess what I want to know from you guys is, do you think Molly and Issa will end up going their separate ways, or do you think that this season they will figure out how to communicate? Do you think that Andrew and Molly will last? Do you think they will actually end up in a relationship, or do you think that they will end up going their separate ways? What do you think about Condola and Lawrence? And what do you think about Lawrence being so adamant about them, you know, Molly or Issa and Condola not bringing him up and kind of becoming an awkward subject? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and we will reconvene next week. I think I shall call us the Guild. We are the Guild, all of us here. So Guild, leave your comments below in the comment section below, and we will discuss where the direction that we think this is gonna go. All right, I hope to see you all next week. Thank you so much for staying till the end of this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and click that notification bell to let you know when I post next. And I will see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye.